Hello my friends, my name is Julie, and today we're traveling to the misty heights of the Caucasus Mountains, where the Georgian language is spoken. So Georgia, not that one, the country, is located in the Caucasus mountain region in the border of Europe and Asia. The Georgians themselves probably call their country Kartvelian, meaning the land of the Kartvels. This word actually gave the name to the whole language family the Georgian language belongs to. Georgian is one of the 4 members of the Kartvelian language family, along with the Swan, the Megrelian, both spoken in Georgia, and the Las, spoken in Turkey just across the border. From all of these languages, Georgian is the biggest, spoken by almost 4 million people, mostly in Georgia, but also in some neighboring countries, like Russia. Georgian is also the only language in the family that has a written form. However, when we try to zoom out and look for the relatives of the Kartvelian language family, we see that they're all alone in this big world surrounded by the enemies. Neighboring Russia, Armenia and Iran speak in Indo-European languages, to which Georgian is not connected, Turkey and Azerbaijan speaking Turkic languages, to which Georgian is not connected. But if we look closer, we can see that the Caucasus region is sprinkled with an astonishing linguistic variety. These languages, which are neither Indo-European nor Turkic, are sometimes grouped into the Caucasian language group, which includes the Kartvelian languages, even though this grouping represents the common geographical situation of the languages, while any genetic relation between them have not been proven. It means that as for today, the Kartvelian languages are considered not related to any other known languages, as their features are quite unique. For example, their pronunciation. The Georgian language, as many other languages in the Caucasus region, has a difficult relationship with the vowels, having only 5 of them, and loves consonants. From these, there are some familiar sounds like s or p, but also some more exotic examples like k and t, which is different from the t, or ch, which is different from the ch. What's more, they love their consonants so much that they don't hesitate to have consonant clusters with more and more and more consonants. But of course, as you might have noticed already, the coolest feature of the Georgian language is its beautiful alphabet. It is absolutely unique to the Georgian language and is one of the only 14 alphabetic systems existing in the world. Nobody knows for sure how it was created. For instance, the Armenians like to say that it was Mesrop Mashtots, an Armenian scholar who also created the Armenian alphabet, by the way, who taught the Georgians how to write. To which the Georgians usually answer, yeah, could be, or it was created by our heroic and maybe mythical King Kartvelian in the 3rd century BC. The most accepted version, though, is that the alphabet was developed from either Aramaic or Greek alphabet. The earliest known examples of the Georgian script already appear in the 5th century, as proven by the Bir el-Kut inscriptions found in the Middle East. Another cool feature about the alphabet is that it is phonetic, meaning that it has 33 letters and there are 33 sounds in the Georgian language. Each letter stands for one sound and they read as you write. So ingenious, especially when you compare it to the madness happening with the English reading and pronunciation. Add to that the Georgian doesn't have uppercase or lowercase letters, neither it has difference between printed or handwritten script, and you might get an idea that Georgian is not that complicated after all. Well, at least until you see the grammar. The Georgian uses the case system, meaning that depending on a function of a noun in a sentence, it changes its ending. That means that the Georgian has a rather free word order, even though the verb prefers to stay at the end. Well, at least to make the life a little bit easier, the Georgian language doesn't have any grammatical gender at all. Even to say he, she, or it, they use the same word, is. So the problem with gender inequality in languages is resolved in Georgian once and for all. The Georgian verb requires some time to master, as it has 4 classes, each having its set of rules of conjugation. There are 3 tenses, past, present and future, which can be perfect or imperfect, which can have conditional or subjunctive clauses. Usual stuff. At least the counting system is easy, if you like math. because the Georgian uses the vigesimal counting system. What does it mean? So let's see. 1, 2, 3. Alright, in the beginning everything looks fine, nothing very suspicious. Okay, 20, 21, 29, 2010, 2010 and 1. Wait a minute. 43 is 2 times 20 and 3, and 75 is 3 times 20 and 10 and 5, and I thought only the French could have come up with such a counting system. Interestingly enough, the Georgian nouns with the numerals never go plural. Why? Because. So I have, let's say, 1 cat, 2 cat, 108 and still cat. And by the way, they have different words that translate as to have, one for the living objects and the other one for the non-living objects. And in this case, the car, the boat, the motorcycle are considered to be 100% alive. By the way, do some of these words remind you of something very familiar? Let's look at the vocabulary. In Georgian, when you mean dad, you say mama. But some of the vocabulary can still be less confusing. The Georgian might be unique, not related to anyone else's language, but its vocabulary displays the history of foreign influences upon it. For example, Bali, which means cherry, comes from the Persian Baalu, and Bayrakhi, meaning flag, comes from the Turkish bayrak. Words of Russian descent appeared later. Some examples might include velosipedi, plaży, bringing to the Georgian language some new concepts. Finally, any modern word can be transformed into a Georgian word either by taking the word as such, if it ends with a vowel, such as metro for instance, metro, or by adding an e at the end, if the word ends with a consonant. Because all of the Georgian nouns have to end with a vowel, otherwise you will not be able to put it in different cases and the whole system will collapse. So let's see some examples. Internet becomes interneti, telephones becomes telefoni, and so on. You can do this with all of the international words. So now, congratulations, you just learned 3,000 Georgian words. I find it always fascinating to see how the language reflects the history of its people. Georgians live in the epicenter of a very diverse region on the borders of massive empires, which meant constant wars. These situations find its reflection even in today's language, because when the Georgians say hello, gamarjoba, it can be translated as victory to you. As we have already mentioned, the Georgians are all alone in this big world surrounded by the enemies. And in order to have a right to exist, they had to learn to come together and fight back, which they had always succeeded to do, as even in the Soviet times, Georgia was the only Soviet republic that had rights to use their language at the official level. So the Georgian people have definitely many things to be proud of. But you can always come to visit, because as the saying goes, stumari vtesa, the guest is from the good. And I say to you all, thank you so much for watching. Please consider to subscribe if you liked the video, because more is coming. There are just so many languages in the world and they're fascinating because, as I always say, language is the key to understand the people who speak it. So learn languages, my friends.